Title: Silencing the Inner Critic, a Bedtime Reset. Purpose: teach a method to replace negative self-talk with healing truth. How about, let tonight be the last night your inner critic wins. Chapter Overview. Chapter 1, The Nightly Battle No One Talks About. Introduce the idea of the inner critic as an invisible enemy that whispers just before sleep. Reveal how nighttime is when unhealed thoughts surface. Gently explain that awareness is the first step toward silencing it. Chapter 2, Meeting Your Inner Critic Without Fear. Personify the inner critic with compassion, not resistance. Show how this voice formed through past pain, unmet expectations, or fear. Introduce a powerful idea: your critic is not your enemy, but an untrained voice. Chapter 3, The Truth Beneath the Lies. Explore common inner critic messages: I'm not good enough, I always fail, etc. Break each message apart with healing counter-truths. Teach readers how to journal or whisper one truth before sleep to overwrite one lie. Chapter 4, The Healing Voice Within. Introduce the concept of the inner ally. Help readers build a new voice that speaks healing, support, and love. Share bedtime affirmations as a ritual. Chapter 5, From Judgment to Observation. Show how to shift from self-judgment to self-awareness. Use visual metaphors, example watching clouds float by. Teach gentle witnessing as a nightly reflection tool. Chapter 6, Creating a Nightly Truth Sanctuary. Guide the reader to build a bedtime environment for emotional safety. Include soft breathing exercises, lighting, and audio triggers, without referencing real music/brands. Offer a 3-minute nightly routine called Truth Tuck-In. Chapter 7, Rewriting the Story You Tell Yourself. Help the reader identify the core narrative their critic feeds on. Guide them to rewrite that story in a way that affirms growth and possibility. Use subliminal suggestions for renewal: I am more than my fears. Chapter 8, Forgiving the Day Before Sleep. Teach how to release regrets, mistakes, and pressure from the day. Share a gentle night forgiveness ritual, for self and others. Introduce the concept of emotional weightlessness. Chapter 9, Waking Up with New Beliefs. Describe how the brain integrates messages overnight. Show how consistent nightly truths become part of identity. Reinforce, each night is a soft rebirth. Chapter 10, A Lifetime Companion of Kindness. Wrap up by reframing the relationship with self as lifelong. Encourage using this ritual as a sacred end to each day. End with a powerful reflection: if I speak gently to myself tonight, I rise stronger tomorrow. Chapter 1, The Nightly Battle No One Talks About. Let tonight be the last night your inner critic wins. There's a silence that settles just before sleep, a silence heavy with unfinished thoughts, quiet regrets, and whispers that echo in the mind. It is in this stillness that the inner critic often rises. It doesn't slam into you like an argument or shout like a stranger. It whispers. It questions. It makes you doubt. Why did you say that? You could have done better. You're not good enough, and deep down, you know it. If you've ever laid in bed, staring at the ceiling, feeling the sting of those invisible attacks, you're not alone. Millions experience this same invisible struggle, but few talk about it. Fewer still know how to confront it, let alone overcome it. We've learned to tolerate the cruelty of that inner voice because it sounds familiar. It sounds like us. But tonight, we begin to unlearn that habit. Tonight, we call out the nightly battle no one talks about, and we reclaim our peace. The inner critic's favorite hour. The inner critic thrives at night because that's when our mental guard is down. During the day, we are distracted by work, conversations, chores, noise. But when the world quiets, the unresolved stories inside us become loud. What didn't get addressed during daylight will seek attention in the dark. It's not random. It's patterned. The inner critic feeds on shame, perfectionism, comparison, and the illusion that we must always do more to be enough. And nighttime is fertile ground for these illusions to take root. But here's the truth, you don't have to keep rehearsing pain every night before sleep. Naming the invisible enemy. Let's give this phenomenon a name, not to empower it, but to disarm it. Naming is the first act of reclaiming control. So tonight, think of your inner critic as the voice that forgot who you are. It's not evil. It's not broken. It's just outdated. This voice is often an echo of past authority figures, societal pressure, cultural conditioning, or even your younger self trying to make sense of disappointment. It tells you what it thinks will protect you. Don't try, you'll fail. Don't trust, you'll get hurt. Don't shine, others will judge you. These aren't truths. They are distorted safety nets woven from fear. Why it hurts more at bedtime. The time between lying down and falling asleep is when your subconscious becomes most impressionable. What you repeat during this liminal time can shape your self-image, dreams, and even your waking mindset the next day. If your inner dialogue in this window is filled with self-criticism, your body enters sleep in a defensive state. Your breath shallows, your heart tightens, your soul contracts. You may not be fully aware of it, but your body feels it. But the opposite is also true. If you intentionally feed yourself gentle thoughts, self-kindness, and healing truths, your body rests in safety. Your dreams shift. Your waking hours begin to carry more softness. This is the invitation of this book, to transform your inner bedtime language. Not by force. Not by suppression. But by lovingly replacing the old script. Awareness is the first light. To change something, you first have to see it clearly. So tonight, don't push the critic away. Don't argue. Don't agree either. Just observe. Like watching a cloud pass across the moon, witness the thoughts without attaching to them. Notice the tone. Is it harsh? Is it doubtful? Is it repetitive? Then ask yourself softly, is this voice telling the truth or just repeating an old wound? This single question begins to separate your soul from the script you've inherited. Here's a powerful reminder, you are not the voice. You are the awareness listening to it. And the listener has the power to choose what they continue to believe. A gentle invitation to begin again. This chapter is not about fixing you. Because you're not broken. It's not about silencing yourself. It's about replacing the critic with a wiser, more compassionate voice. One that affirms your worth instead of questioning it. One that believes in your growth instead of doubting your every move. As you lie in bed tonight, place one hand over your heart. Take a deep breath in. Let it out slowly. Then, whisper to yourself. I no longer carry the weight of words that weren't true. I am safe to rest. I am worthy of peace. Say it again if you need to. Not because repetition makes it magically true, but because your soul is listening. Your subconscious is recording. Your inner child is watching to see if this time, you'll speak kindly to yourself. This is your bedtime reset. Setting the intention for the journey ahead. This chapter opens the door. In the chapters to come, you will meet your inner critic not with a sword, but with a light. You'll discover practical tools, soothing rituals, and loving truths that help you gently transform your inner monologue. By the end of this journey, the voice that once kept you up at night will no longer dominate your peace. It may still visit, but it will no longer rule. You'll have built a new voice inside, one that loves you back into wholeness. Because you are more than the harsh words you once believed. You are healing. You are rising. You are remembering who you were before the critic moved in. And tonight that journey begins. Chapter 2, Meeting Your Inner Critic Without Fear. You can't heal what you fear. You must first meet it with open eyes and an open heart. There's a paradox that holds many people hostage. We want peace, but we are afraid of facing what disturbs our peace. The inner critic is often portrayed as a villain to fight, a voice to shut down, or a part of ourselves to avoid. But avoidance only feeds its power. In this chapter, we shift the approach. Instead of resisting the inner critic, we gently invite it into the light. We meet it calmly, curiously, and without fear. Because what we meet with compassion begins to soften. The unexpected origins of your inner critic. Your inner critic wasn't born yesterday. It's a voice shaped by layers of experience, old comments, childhood environments, cultural expectations, trauma responses, and moments of shame that never found healing. It may sound like a parent's disappointed sigh, a teacher's harsh grading pen, a bully's insult that stuck, or even your own voice in a moment of failure, frozen in time. And because it sounds so familiar, it starts to feel like truth. But it's not the truth. It's a memory echoing without permission. The inner critic is often not your enemy, it's a scared part of you that still believes harshness equals protection. When you begin to see the critic this way, something inside you shifts. You stop preparing for battle, and you start preparing for understanding. The power of naming without blaming. Tonight, we practice something simple but radical, naming the inner critic without blaming it. Blaming leads to resistance. Resistance leads to internal war. But naming without judgment is the first step toward healing. You might say, "This voice sounds like my father when I disappointed him. This thought came up after I failed that exam in high school. This pattern always shows up when I'm about to try something new." You're not condemning it. You're tracing it. You're no longer lost in the voice, you are the observer watching its origin. That alone makes you stronger than the thought. A visualization, meeting the voice. Let's try a gentle visualization to bring this awareness to life. Close your eyes. Imagine a quiet room filled with warm, golden candlelight. You're sitting in a cozy chair with a soft blanket draped over you. The air is calm, safe. Now, imagine a door in front of you. It slowly opens, and your inner critic walks in not as a monster, but as a younger version of yourself. Maybe they're 7 years old, or 12, or a teenager. Maybe they look scared. Maybe they're just confused. Notice how they carry a notebook, pages filled with harsh sentences like "you're not good enough" or "don't try, you'll fail." This child isn't trying to hurt you. They're trying to protect you, the only way they know how. Can you feel that? The shift? Instead of reacting with anger, try speaking gently. "Thank you for trying to keep me safe, but I no longer need these old beliefs." In this moment, something profound happens. The inner critic loses its grip. Not because you fought it, but because you understood it. The critic's language, harsh, absolute, fear-based. Your inner critic uses language that's easy to recognize once you know what to look for. Its patterns are often harsh, "You're a failure." Absolute, "You always mess things up." Fear-based, "If you don't do this perfectly, you'll be rejected." These words often appear at night, when your defenses are down. But awareness is a spotlight. When you start identifying these patterns, they lose their mystery. You begin to see the critic not as a voice of wisdom, but as a voice of fear frozen in time. And fear, once named, becomes less powerful. Replacing fear with compassionate curiosity. Here's a powerful practice. When the inner critic speaks, respond with compassionate curiosity. Ask, "What are you trying to protect me from? What old wound are you repeating right now?" What would I say to a friend who just had this thought? These questions rewire your brain. Instead of spiraling into shame, you create a pause, and in that pause, your truest voice can speak. You begin to parent yourself the way you may have needed long ago. Journal prompt: Dialogue with the critic. Take a journal and divide a page into 2 columns. On the left, write what the inner critic says. On the right, respond with what your inner ally would say. Example: Inner critic. Inner ally: You're so lazy. You've been overwhelmed. You're doing your best. Everyone is ahead of you. Everyone's journey is unique. You're right on time. You'll never change. You already are. Every breath is a chance to begin again. Do this exercise for 5 minutes before bed, and over time, your subconscious will begin to adopt the softer voice. Building trust with your inner self. The inner critic is loud because it doesn't trust that you're safe to grow. But each time you respond with kindness, you prove otherwise. You build trust not just with the voice, but with yourself. Over days and weeks, this trust accumulates. Your body begins to relax when you lie down. Your mind begins to soften. Your heart begins to open. Because it finally feels safe. Safe to rest. Safe to dream. Safe to be. A loving reminder before sleep. As you close your eyes tonight, remember, your inner critic is not the final voice. It's just the oldest one. You are allowed to rewrite your inner script. You are allowed to pause the harshness and introduce gentleness. You are allowed to outgrow the beliefs that no longer serve your becoming. So as you lie in bed tonight, whisper to yourself: I see the part of me that fears, but I choose to speak with love. This simple reset, repeated over time, becomes a sacred ritual of inner reparenting. It silences the old judge not with violence, but with truth. And the truth is this: you are lovable. You are healing. And the part of you that hurts is finally being heard, not feared. Let this be your new bedtime story. Chapter 3: The Truth Beneath the Lies. Your critic whispers lies disguised as logic. But tonight, you learn to listen deeper to the quiet, loving truth. There's something especially cruel about the inner critic. It often speaks with a tone that sounds logical, even reasonable. It wraps falsehoods in just enough familiarity that you don't question them. You assume they must be true because they've echoed in your mind for years. But repetition is not truth. Just because something has been said inside your head 100 times does not mean it is sacred. It might just be a lie that was never challenged. And tonight, you begin the sacred work of replacing those lies with truths that heal. Lies that masquerade as motivation. The inner critic rarely screams. Instead, it whispers with a sharpness that cuts. You're not doing enough. You're too late. Everyone else has it figured out. You always mess this up. These statements often arise not from your soul, but from your fear. They are echoes from a younger you, maybe a version of you that was trying to avoid punishment, rejection, or embarrassment. What's important to realize is this: many of these lies were never yours to begin with. They were planted by a teacher's impatient comment, by a parent's unreachable expectations, by a society obsessed with perfection. You did the best you could with what you were given. But now, you are the one who decides what remains in your mind. Truths that heal. Let's take a moment to expose the most common lies and replace them with healing truths. Lie: I'm not good enough. Truth: I am enough because I exist. I do not need to earn worthiness. You were never supposed to be perfect. You were supposed to be real, flawed, evolving, beautiful in your imperfection. Your value doesn't start when you succeed. It begins with your heartbeat. Lie: I always mess things up. Truth, I make mistakes, but I also grow. I am allowed to learn as I go. No one walks perfectly. Not even the wisest souls. Life is a process of refinement, not punishment. Mistakes are not proof of your failure, they are the stepping stones of your becoming. Lie, I should be further along. Truth, I am unfolding in divine timing. My path is uniquely mine. Comparison is the fuel of the inner critic. But healing begins when you reject timelines imposed by others. You are not late. You are being shaped in ways unseen. The roots grow deep before the flower blooms. Lie, no one really cares. Truth, I matter. My presence carries light. The world is better with me in it. The inner critic tries to isolate you, to convince you that you are alone. But connection is your birthright. Somewhere, someone is waiting for your light. Don't dim it because of an old lie. Bedtime Truth Ritual. Before sleep, your mind becomes more open to suggestion. That's why it's the perfect time to reprogram your internal narrative. Here's a gentle 5-minute truth ritual you can do while lying in bed. Close your eyes and take 3 deep, intentional breaths. Place one hand over your chest. Feel your heartbeat. Remind yourself, I am here. I am alive. That's enough. Choose one lie you've heard in your head today. Whisper it out loud. I didn't do enough today. I'm a burden. I'm too old to change. Now speak a healing truth in response. My rest matters too. I deserve care and kindness. I can start fresh at any age. Repeat the truth softly 3 times like a lullaby. Let it wrap around you like a warm blanket. This ritual, when practiced consistently, becomes a nightly cleansing. You are clearing the emotional residue of the day and preparing your mind to rest in peace, not in battle. A note on emotional memory. Many of the lies your inner critic speaks are tied to emotional memories, moments that registered not just in the mind, but in the body. Maybe you were scolded in front of others and felt shame. Maybe you were told you were too sensitive and learned to shut down your emotions. These memories don't just sit in the past. They live in your nervous system. That's why the lies can feel so real. But when you begin replacing them with affirming truths, you slowly retrain your emotional body to feel safe again. This is not about delusion or pretending everything is okay. It's about reclaiming the right to speak to yourself with love. From inner war to inner peace. Imagine this. A child comes to you, crying after being told they're not smart enough. Would you repeat those words to them? Of course not. You'd cradle their pain. You'd affirm their goodness. You'd hold space for their healing. Why, then, do we deny that same kindness to ourselves? The inner critic is an inherited voice, but your inner truth is your original voice. It was there before the criticism. It's still there, quiet, patient, waiting to be heard again. Let tonight be the night you start listening. Your words create your world. Words are not passive. They shape reality. Harsh words dim the nervous system. Kind words soothe and restore. Repeated truths anchor new beliefs. Tonight, instead of falling asleep to an internal monologue of judgment, let your last words be intentional and loving. Try whispering these phrases as you drift into sleep. I release today with grace. I am safe, even when I'm still becoming. My value is not based on output, but on existence. I forgive myself for believing what was never true. Each sentence is a healing code. A message to your subconscious, you are allowed to rest in peace, not performance. A final whisper. The inner critic will not disappear overnight. It may still whisper. But each time you speak a truth in return, its grip weakens. Its authority crumbles. Your soul strengthens. And slowly, you build a new identity not shaped by fear, but by compassionate clarity. As you end this chapter, place your hand over your heart one more time. Breathe in gently. And say, "Tonight, I choose truth. I am more than my critic. I am more than my fear. I am worthy of peace." Let that be the lullaby your soul hears as you fall asleep. Let it begin to echo louder than the lies. Because you were never meant to go to bed doubting your worth. You were meant to rest, knowing you are already enough. Chapter 4, The Healing Voice Within. When the critic quiets, another voice rises. A voice of kindness, truth, and deep belonging. It's been within you all along. You've spent much of your life listening to one dominant voice in your mind, the inner critic. It speaks loudly, sharply, and often uninvited. But there's another voice, quieter, calmer, often drowned out but never gone. It doesn't rush or shame. It waits patiently, like sunlight behind a curtain. This is your inner ally, your healing voice within. And in this chapter, you'll learn how to awaken it, strengthen it, and let it lead you, especially at night, when your soul most craves peace. Who is the inner ally? Your inner ally is not a fantasy. It's not a mantra you chant without meaning. It is a deep and sacred part of you, a voice rooted in your soul's wisdom, not your ego's fear. The inner ally says things like, "You've made it through hard things before. You'll rise again. You're allowed to rest, even if the world tells you to hustle. You don't need to be perfect to be deeply lovable." Unlike the critic, the inner ally speaks from a place of acceptance. It doesn't need you to prove anything. It simply reminds you of what is already true, that you matter, you are growing, and you deserve compassion, especially from yourself. Why the healing voice feels so distant? You may wonder, if I have this inner ally, why is it so hard to hear? The answer is simple: you've been trained to listen to fear. We live in a world that rewards self-doubt disguised as humility. That normalizes overthinking as responsibility. That equates harsh self-discipline with ambition. And so, the kind, supportive voice inside you was neglected. It became faint, like a song you used to love but stopped playing. Not because it lost meaning, but because you forgot how to tune into it. But here's the good news: it's still there. It's always been there. And tonight, you begin to listen again. Activating the inner ally. To awaken your healing voice, you must intentionally invite it into your nighttime ritual. Try this simple practice. The mirror of gentle words. Sit or lie comfortably before bed. Close your eyes and take a few slow, grounding breaths. Picture a version of you standing in front of a mirror, not the physical mirror, but the emotional one. This version of you is tired, maybe a little unsure, but deeply human. Now imagine your inner ally approaching and whispering into your ear. What does it say? You are doing enough, even if no one notices. You don't need to rush your healing. You are allowed to feel joy, even after a hard day. The words may feel unfamiliar at first, but they are your truth. You're simply remembering. Repeat this ritual each night until the healing voice feels natural again. Crafting your inner ally's vocabulary. One of the best ways to strengthen your inner ally is to give it a unique vocabulary, a list of words and phrases that soothe your nervous system and invite you back into calm. Here's a starter vocabulary list for your healing voice. Gentle. Grace. Enough. Rested. Whole. Becoming. Unfolding. Belonging. Sacred. Kindness. Now try pairing these words into affirmations. I am unfolding in my own time. I am worthy of sacred rest. I am kind to myself, even in uncertainty. I belong in this world, just as I am. Write down 3 to 5 of your favorite affirmations and keep them near your bed. Read them softly before sleep, allowing each word to wrap around your body like a warm blanket. Your inner critic thrives on repetition. So does your inner ally. Let loving words become your new bedtime lullaby. How the inner ally helps you sleep. The healing voice within does more than just comfort you emotionally, it also works with your biology. When you speak gentle truths before bed, your nervous system relaxes. Your body moves from fight or flight into rest and digest. Your breathing slows, your muscles release tension, and your heart rate becomes steady. In this state, your brain is more likely to enter restorative deep sleep, helping your body and mind truly recover. The inner ally isn't just a feel-good concept. It's a neurological shift. One that builds over time, night by night, breath by breath. Writing a letter from your inner ally. If you want to take this practice deeper, try writing yourself a bedtime letter, not from your conscious mind, but from your inner ally. Start like this. Dear your name. I know today was a lot. I saw how hard you tried, even when no one acknowledged it. I noticed the way you cared, even when you felt invisible. You are not your mistakes. You are not your pace. You are not falling behind. You are enough right now, exactly as you are. Rest tonight. You deserve to feel held. With love. Your healing voice. Read this letter aloud or silently before sleep. It's not just words, it's medicine. Healing ink for the soul. Anchoring your new identity. When you listen to your inner ally consistently, you don't just feel better, you become someone new. Not because you change into a different person, but because you remember who you were before the noise. Before the pressure. Before the critic. You begin to walk differently. Speak differently. Choose differently. You become someone who trusts their own gentleness. Someone who doesn't confuse urgency with worth. Someone who is not afraid of their softness. That is the quiet revolution, self-kindness becoming self-identity. A nightly blessing to close the day. Let this be your nightly blessing. Tonight, I release the voice that rushes, punishes, and doubts. I welcome the voice that heals, anchors, and believes. I rest not as a reward, but as a right. My inner ally is awake now. I am safe. I am seen. I am sacred. Say it softly. Say it sincerely. Say it like it's the last thing you want your heart to remember before sleep. Because it is. Chapter 5, From Judgment to Observation. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness that sees them. And awareness is the birthplace of peace. There's a subtle, profound shift that happens when you stop judging your thoughts and begin simply observing them. In this space of observation, something magical awakens, freedom. The kind of freedom that quiets the chaos of the mind, that soothes the sting of inner criticism, and that gently reminds you, you are not broken. This chapter invites you to trade the sharp blade of judgment for the soft lantern of curiosity. It is a transition from being ruled by the inner critic to becoming the calm witness of your inner world. And in this space, transformation becomes not only possible but inevitable. The difference between judging and observing. To judge is to conclude. To observe is to notice. Judgment is fast, reactive, and unforgiving. Observation is slow, spacious, and compassionate. When the inner critic says, "You failed today," and you respond with, "Yes, I'm such a mess," you've entered judgment. You've accepted the conclusion. But when you respond with, "Interesting, that thought came up again," you remain in observation. You create distance between the thought and your identity. And in that distance, healing begins. Why this shift matters at bedtime. Night is the hour when judgment tends to spike. As the noise of the world dies down, the voice inside becomes louder, and if you're not careful, your mind will pull out every file from the day and run it through a harsh review. I should have handled that conversation better. I wasted time again. Why did I eat that? I didn't do enough. But what if, instead of judging these thoughts, you simply observed them? What if you met each inner criticism with, I see that part of me is anxious, or that's an old pattern surfacing again, instead of spiraling into self-blame? You wouldn't just fall asleep faster. You'd fall asleep freer. The power of the pause. Observation creates a pause. And in that pause, you find power. You find choice. You find the ability to shift direction. The inner critic is automatic. It thrives on reaction. But you are not your autopilot. You are the pilot. And the moment you observe a thought instead of reacting to it, you reclaim the controls. Here's a simple exercise to practice this pause. Lie in bed and take a deep breath. Notice a recurring thought that arises, perhaps about your worth, your day, or your future. Instead of judging the thought or agreeing with it, silently say, "This is just a thought, not a truth." Then ask gently, "Where might this thought be coming from?" Exhale slowly, letting the thought float away like a cloud drifting across the sky. That is observation. That is reclaiming your mind's terrain. Using the cloud and sky visualization. Your thoughts are not who you are, they are like clouds in the sky of your awareness. Some clouds are dark. Some are light. Some pass quickly. Some linger. But no matter how stormy the clouds, the sky remains untouched. You are the sky. Every night, as you close your eyes, imagine your mind as a sky. Watch the thoughts roll in like clouds. Don't chase them. Don't resist them. Simply watch. Witness. Allow. And then whisper to yourself, "I am the sky, not the storm." Let this become your gentle bedtime meditation. It trains your nervous system to stop reacting and start witnessing. It reconditions your emotional responses to favor neutrality over panic, softness over self-punishment. Breaking the habit of reaction. Judgment is often a habit, not a conscious decision. You may not even realize how often you criticize yourself. For how you look in the mirror. For how much or how little you accomplished. For emotions you shouldn't feel. For simply being human. But every habit can be interrupted and replaced. Start with awareness. Keep a notepad by your bed. Each night, jot down 1 to 3 judgments you noticed during the day. Then rewrite them into observations. Example. Judgment: I was lazy all day. Observation: I felt low energy and chose rest. Judgment: I'm so bad at relationships. Observation: I reacted from fear today, and I want to understand why. This practice gently rewires your thinking patterns. Your brain begins to associate awareness with safety, not shame. The role of curiosity in healing. Curiosity is your secret weapon. It softens self-attack into self-inquiry. Instead of, "Why do I keep messing everything up?" try, "I wonder what made me react that way today." Instead of, "What's wrong with me?" try, "What might I need right now that I didn't receive?" Curiosity is kind. It invites growth. It makes room for grace. Let your bedtime thoughts be shaped not by judgment, but by wonder. A compassionate observation script. Before sleep tonight, speak this script aloud or silently. I noticed that I judged myself today, and that's okay. I observed that I had high expectations, and I'm learning to meet myself with patience. I saw the critic show up, and I chose not to fight, but to witness. I am learning. I am observing. I am softening. And in this softness, I am healing. Repeat as often as needed until your breath slows, your chest loosens, and your spirit feels safe to rest. The birthplace of self-compassion. Observation is not the end, it's the beginning of self-compassion. When you stop judging your mind and start witnessing it, something incredible happens. Your mind stops feeling like an enemy. It becomes a child, eager to be understood. A garden, ready to be tended. A canvas, waiting for new colors. You no longer fear your thoughts, you become their loving guide. And that is the deepest form of freedom, to know your mind and still love yourself. A final reflection for tonight. As you lay your head on your pillow, take a final moment to reflect. What did I notice about myself today without judgment? Where did I react and where did I pause? How can I meet myself tomorrow with even more grace? There is no right answer. Only presence. And presence is where healing lives. Tonight, you rest not as someone to be fixed, but as someone finally seen. Let your thoughts drift. Let your breath deepen. Let your mind soften. And remember, I am not here to battle myself. I am here to befriend my mind. You are no longer a prisoner of judgment. You are the loving witness of your becoming. Let the healing continue. Chapter 6, Creating a Nightly Truth Sanctuary. Your bed is not just a place to rest, it can become your sanctuary. A place where truth whispers louder than fear. There's something sacred about the end of the day. The world slows. The distractions fade. The body aches for stillness. The mind searches for closure. And your spirit, your deepest, truest self, wants one thing: peace. But too often, bedtime becomes a battleground. The mind replays the day like a courtroom, listing perceived failures, fears, and unfinished tasks. And instead of drifting into calm, we carry the weight of the day into our dreams. This chapter invites you to create a sacred space, both physical and emotional, a nightly truth sanctuary where only kindness, softness, and truth are allowed to enter. A sanctuary that gently silences the inner critic and reminds you, you are safe, you are worthy, and you are whole. Why your environment matters. Your outer world mirrors your inner world. If your bedroom is chaotic, cluttered, or emotionally cold, it can unconsciously activate stress. But when you create a peaceful and intentional bedtime environment, your body begins to relax the moment you enter. This isn't about perfection or aesthetics, it's about energetic safety. A truth sanctuary is not just clean sheets and a dim lamp. It's a ritualized space that tells your subconscious, here, I am free to let go of fear. Here, I rest in love, not judgment. Elements of a nightly truth sanctuary. You can build your sanctuary in layers, each one soothing a part of your being. One soft lighting for a soft mind. Light impacts the nervous system. Harsh lighting keeps your mind alert, ready to defend. Soft, golden tones signal to your brain that it's time to unwind. Try a warm bedside lamp, a Himalayan salt lamp, a string of soft fairy lights, a candle, real or LED. Let your light tell your mind, you don't need to be on anymore. You can just be. 2. Sound that grounds. Sound can guide you into rest. Use this power wisely. Options include gentle instrumental music, nature sounds, rainfall, ocean, forest breeze. A calming, slow voice reading affirmations, such as your own recordings. Silence, if that brings you peace. Avoid anything with lyrics or news before bed, these activate the verbal centers of the brain and invite noise when you're seeking peace. 3. Sacred touch points. Place something meaningful near or on your bed that reminds you of your truth. This can be a small smooth stone labeled truth, A handwritten note that says "I am safe now." A soft blanket you wrap around yourself like a cocoon. A journal placed where you can reach it without getting up. These items are not decoration. They are anchors, reminders that your truth is stronger than your fear. The emotional setup, a ritual of safety. A truth sanctuary is not just physical. It's a feeling, a vibration, a conscious shift in energy from doing to being. Here's a short nightly ritual to activate the emotional sanctuary. Close the door. As you enter your room, say softly, "The day is done. My tasks are over. I now enter my sanctuary." Unpack the day gently. Sit for a moment and place your hand on your chest. Ask, "What is one thing I want to let go of tonight?" Then whisper, "I release this now. It no longer belongs to me." Speak a truth out loud. Choose one loving truth, just one, and say it slowly. Let your body absorb it. "I did my best today. I am enough, even when I'm tired. It is safe to rest. I don't have to carry tomorrow yet." Lie down in presence. As you settle into bed, imagine the sheets embracing you like a parent would a child. Not with pressure, but with love. Whisper internally, "I am held. I am here. I am healing." This ritual, done nightly, becomes a signal to your soul, you are home now. Nothing more is needed. Truth is your bedtime shield. Think of truth like a soft force field around your bed. Not made of sharp defiance, but of quiet certainty. When fear tries to enter, the truth speaks first. Fear says, "What if I fail tomorrow?" Truth responds, "You've already made it through so much." Criticism says, "You didn't do enough today." Truth responds, "Rest is also a form of progress." Worry says, "You're falling behind." Truth responds, "Your pace is perfect for your path." Let these truths be the final thoughts your mind absorbs before sleep. They become the seeds your dreams water. A sanctuary for your inner child. Remember, the inner critic often formed in childhood when you felt unsafe, misunderstood, or unworthy. That wounded child is still within you, hoping for someone to speak gently. Your sanctuary is where that inner child comes home to warmth. Try saying softly as you lie down, "Little one, you don't have to protect me tonight. You don't have to replay old fears. I've got you now. You are safe. You are loved. Sleep, sweet soul. All is well." This is not fantasy. It is reparenting. It is repair. It is resurrection. Make it your own. Your truth sanctuary doesn't have to look like anyone else's. For some, it may include soft incense or essential oil, a warm drink like herbal tea, a short poem or passage you recite, a gentle bedtime prayer. There's no right or wrong. The only requirement is that it makes you feel seen, safe, and soothed. A final whisper before sleep. As you turn out the lights and pull the covers up, let your final thoughts be sacred. No to-do lists. No judgment. No harsh reviews. Just this. I enter this sanctuary with love. I leave behind all shame and noise. I sleep in the arms of truth. I am free. I am forgiven. I am enough. Say it once. Say it twice. Say it until your breath slows and your body melts into rest. Because this is not just the end of a day, it is the beginning of a deeper relationship with yourself. One built not on fear, but on faith. Chapter 7, Rewriting the Story You Tell Yourself. You are not bound to the story you inherited. You are the author now. Tonight, you begin again with truth as your pen. Every day, you live inside a story. It plays silently in the background, shaping your thoughts, choices, and sense of worth. And while most of us never stop to question it, this story crafted over years, sometimes decades, isn't always kind. In fact, it's often laced with outdated beliefs, unhealed wounds, and quiet lies dressed as facts. The inner critic feeds on these stories. It recites the same chapters over and over. You're not disciplined enough. You always mess things up. You're too much, or not enough. People eventually leave. You'll never change. But these are not facts. These are scripts, written long ago, usually when you were too young to question them. And tonight, you begin the sacred work of rewriting them. The power of narrative. Your subconscious does not respond to logic. It responds to story. That's why repeating affirmations only works when they feel emotionally resonant. If the words don't align with your deeper beliefs, they bounce off like pebbles on glass. But when you consciously reshape the narrative, you offer your subconscious something new to hold onto. A new script. A new truth. One that feels familiar, yet freeing. When you change the story, you change the lens through which you see yourself. And when that lens shifts, your entire reality begins to soften. Where the old story began. Before you can rewrite your inner story, it helps to understand how the old one was written. Most of your internal dialogue comes from childhood interpretations of praise or rejection, unprocessed pain from past relationships, cultural and societal messages about success, appearance, and value, moments of failure that were never reframed. Imagine a younger version of yourself watching the world, collecting evidence. I didn't get picked, so I must not be good enough. Or they praised me when I overworked, so that's how I earn love. These interpretations become core beliefs, and the inner critic simply replays them in adulthood like a broken record. But you are not that child anymore. You are wiser now. Kinder. More conscious. And that means you have the power to update the script. Identify the dominant storyline. The first step to rewriting is naming the old narrative. What is the story you've been telling yourself before sleep? Is it one of unworthiness? I'm not good enough. Fear of failure? If I try, I'll be judged. Emotional abandonment? People don't stay. Perfectionism? I have to get it all right to rest. Take a moment. Breathe in. Place your hand over your heart and whisper the old story softly. Say it not to reinforce it but to acknowledge it. Now say, this is the story I was given. But it is not the story I must live. Replace the script with soul truths. Once you've named the old narrative, it's time to create a new one that reflects the truth of who you are becoming, not who you were taught to be. Try rewriting your old scripts like this. Old script, I'm a burden. New truth, my presence brings light. I am worthy of connection. Old script, I always fall short. New truth, I am growing at a sacred pace, and that is enough. Old script, no one sees me. New truth, I see myself now. And that is the beginning of everything. These truths aren't motivational fluff. They are soul reminders. They are what you knew before the world taught you to forget. Bedtime story reframe practice. Try this nightly exercise to begin reauthoring your internal narrative. Lie down in your truth sanctuary. Take a few slow, grounding breaths. Speak the old story aloud. Don't be afraid of it. It's just a thought. Place one hand on your heart. Say, this story helped me survive. But it no longer serves the truth I live in now. Now speak the new narrative. Slowly, softly, like a lullaby. I am allowed to be seen. I am not a problem to fix. I am worthy of rest, joy, and belonging. Visualize yourself living in that new story, falling asleep as someone who already believes it. The more you repeat this process, the more your subconscious begins to embrace it. And over time, the inner critic will have nothing left to cling to. A gentle reminder, you can rewrite anytime. Don't wait for a perfect moment to change your inner narrative. You don't need a breakthrough or a therapist's approval or someone else's validation. You are the author of your life. The pen is already in your hand. Every night, you have the chance to say, I forgive the stories that were never mine. I choose now to write with kindness. I begin again not because I failed, but because I am free to. Affirmations to support your new narrative. End each day with affirmations that anchor your new truth. I am safe to rest, even when I'm still growing. My value is not up for debate. I am loved, even when I'm still learning to love myself. I let go of borrowed stories. I speak only what heals. Say them out loud. Whisper them. Write them in a journal. Let them become your nighttime prayer. Let the new story begin tonight. You don't need to erase the past to rewrite your future. You simply need to stop letting an outdated voice narrate your worth. As you lay your head down tonight, repeat softly. I am not the pain I've lived through. I am the one who lived. And the one who is still here is brave enough to write a better story. Your bedtime reset isn't just about sleep. It's about identity restoration. It's about choosing truth, every single night, until it becomes your default rhythm. Until the inner critic grows quiet. And your soul becomes the storyteller. Chapter 8, Forgiving the Day Before Sleep. Let the last thing you do tonight be an act of release. You deserve to rest with a heart unburdened. We often carry the day with us into the night. The moments we regret, the things we wish we had said differently, the missed chances, the stumbles, the emotional weights we didn't have time to process, they follow us like shadows into our bedrooms. And as we lie in the quiet dark, these shadows whisper, you should have handled that better. Why did you say that? You wasted another day. You didn't show up the way you were supposed to. These voices are subtle but heavy. They settle in your chest, tighten your shoulders, and wrap around your breath like an invisible knot. But tonight, we do something radical, something your inner critic cannot comprehend. We forgive the day. Why forgiveness before sleep matters. Forgiveness is not just a spiritual act. It's a neurological reset. When you forgive yourself, others, life, your body transitions from stress to rest. Your nervous system softens. Your brainwave patterns shift. Your immune system gets a break. Your breath deepens. Your sleep becomes restorative. Holding on to judgment even quietly keeps your body in a low-grade survival mode. But releasing judgment is like opening a window in a stale room. Suddenly, the air becomes breathable again. You cannot change what happened today. But you can change how you carry it into the night. The inner critic hates forgiveness. The inner critic thrives on repetition and resentment. It wants you to replay every moment you wish you could undo, so it can reinforce its story that you're not enough. But forgiveness interrupts this loop. Forgiveness says, yes, it happened, and I still deserve peace. It's not about excusing behavior or pretending everything was okay. It's about choosing not to let one day define your worth or rob you of your right to rest. Forgiveness is the soft rebellion against the critic's cruelty. And it is one of the most profound acts of self-love. The Forgiveness Bedtime Ritual. Here is a gentle nightly ritual to practice forgiving the day before sleep. 1. Acknowledge the day without judgment. Lie down in stillness. Place your hand on your heart. Inhale slowly. Ask yourself, What moment from today still lingers in me? Don't analyze it. Don't justify it. Just name it softly in your mind. That argument. That mistake at work. That thing I didn't say. You are not reliving it. You are witnessing it with love. To speak the forgiveness aloud. Now, say to yourself slowly, as if cradling your own soul. I forgive myself for how I showed up today. I was doing the best I could with the energy and awareness I had. Or, if someone hurt you, I choose to release the weight of that moment. I no longer carry what is not mine to hold. Forgiveness doesn't mean you agree. It means you let go of the need to rehearse pain. 3. Release the residue. Visualize the moment as a stone in your palm. Then gently close your eyes and imagine placing that stone down beside your bed. Say, "You don't come with me into my sleep. You stay here." Let your body feel the lightness that follows. Self-forgiveness, the quiet miracle. Forgiving others is powerful, but forgiving yourself is sacred. It may feel difficult at first. The inner critic will say, "You should have known better." But the truth is, you didn't, not fully, not then. Self-forgiveness acknowledges that you are human. That growth is messy. That love is not linear. Try saying softly, "I made mistakes today. That doesn't make me a mistake." Or, "Even in my messiness, I am worthy of compassion." You are not perfect, you are becoming. That is always enough. Emotional weightlessness, a new way to sleep. Have you ever felt the difference between falling asleep in a state of regret, and falling asleep in a state of surrender? Regret feels like gravity. Surrender feels like floating. Forgiveness is the bridge between the two. It is not weak. It is not passive. It is a decision to prioritize your peace over your punishment. Each time you forgive the day, you reclaim a piece of yourself. A piece that the critic once held captive. Forgiveness prompts for reflection. If you enjoy journaling before bed, here are some forgiveness prompts to explore. What moment today do I still carry in my body? What would I say to a child who made the same mistake I did? What is one loving thing I can tell myself about today? What am I ready to release so I can rest? Let the answers rise naturally. Let them speak from your softness, not your shame. Nightly affirmations of release. Close your day with these whispers of self-forgiveness. I let go of what I cannot change. My soul is worthy of rest, even if the day wasn't perfect. Each night is a doorway to begin again. I am no longer defined by my hardest moments. Peace belongs to me even now. Let them echo in your body. Let them become your lullabies. A loving reminder. Forgiveness is not a one-time act. It's a practice. A nightly decision to clear the heart, to soften the breath, to say, "I won't carry what hurts me into my dreams." You don't need to have everything figured out before you rest. You don't need to prove your worth before you sleep. You just need to choose kindness one more time before the day ends. A final whisper. As you lie down tonight, let this be your final thought. I forgive the day. I forgive myself. I forgive the voices that judged me. I release all that tried to follow me into this sacred stillness. I am allowed to sleep as someone whole, even if I'm still healing. Because you are. And your rest, your real, deep, healing rest is your birthright. Tonight, you rest unburdened. Tonight, you sleep forgiven. Chapter 9, Waking Up with New Beliefs. The thoughts you fall asleep to are the seeds of the beliefs you wake up with. There's something quietly magical about sleep. While your conscious mind drifts into rest, your subconscious continues working, sorting, processing, imprinting. It doesn't sleep like your body does. It listens. It absorbs. And most importantly, it remembers what you repeat. This means the last words you whisper to yourself before bed have immense power. They don't disappear into the dark. They settle. They root. And they often become the beliefs that guide how you feel the next day and how you begin to define yourself over time. In this chapter, we explore how your bedtime practice can do more than silence the inner critic. It can plant new truths, form new emotional pathways, and help you wake up as someone who believes in their own worth, their softness, and their right to peace. What you tell yourself before sleep shapes you. Think of your subconscious like fertile soil. Whatever you plant in it before sleep, fear, worry, guilt, or peace, hope, compassion will take root and begin to grow. The inner critic often sows seeds of scarcity and shame. You're not enough. You should have done more. You'll mess it up again tomorrow. And when you wake up, even before you open your eyes, these beliefs are already blooming. You might feel the weight of unworthiness in your chest, even before you remember why. But the beauty is this: you can interrupt the cycle. You can replace the script. You can train your subconscious to fall asleep with a new emotional script, one rooted in self-respect, self-kindness, and gentle certainty. The science behind repetition. Neuroscience tells us that repeated thoughts form neural pathways, literal roads in the brain. The more you think a thought, the deeper that road becomes. This is why old beliefs feel automatic. They've been reinforced, again and again, sometimes for decades. But repetition works both ways. Every time you whisper a loving truth before sleep, you are building a new road. At first, it might feel unfamiliar or even uncomfortable. But with consistent practice, these new thoughts become easier, more believable, and eventually natural. You can rewire your identity by choosing what you fall asleep believing. Morning starts the night before. Most people try to change their lives in the morning with affirmations, to-do lists, exercise routines. And while these practices are valuable, their foundation begins the night before. When you fall asleep full of judgment, anxiety, or unresolved emotion, your body holds onto it overnight. Your sleep is shallower. Your dreams are restless. And you wake up already depleted. But when you fall asleep inside a sanctuary of calm, truth, and self-forgiveness, your body restores more deeply. Your brain resets more effectively. You don't just wake up, you rise. So ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to be tomorrow? Then speak to that version of you tonight. A sample belief planting bedtime practice. Here is a short 5-minute practice to help you intentionally plant new beliefs as you drift to sleep. Lie on your back or side in a comfortable position. Allow your body to fully relax. Let the day melt away. Place one hand over your heart, the other over your belly. This grounds your awareness in the present moment. Breathe deeply and say softly, I am safe to let go. I forgive myself for what I didn't do today. I am proud of how I showed up. I am enough, even now. Choose one belief to imprint overnight. Make it personal and emotionally resonant. Say it gently 5 to 10 times, like a lullaby. Examples. I am becoming more loving every day. It is safe to be fully myself. I belong in this life. My softness is my strength. Rest is a sacred act of self-respect. Let this be the last voice your subconscious hears before sleep. What happens when you repeat healing truths? When you fall asleep with loving beliefs in your heart, you may begin to notice subtle changes. You wake up feeling lighter without knowing why. You stop dreading the morning and begin approaching it with curiosity. You speak to yourself more gently when mistakes happen. You stop trying to prove your worth and start honoring it. These are not surface-level shifts. They are identity-level transformations. Because your inner critic is not just a voice. It's a symptom of old beliefs. And when you change the beliefs, the voice begins to fade. Dreaming new dreams. When your mind is free from constant criticism, it begins to dream differently. Literally and metaphorically. Your sleep becomes deeper. Your dreams become more creative and less fear-driven. Your waking life opens up with possibility. You are no longer bracing for the next failure. You are leaning into your becoming. This is how you become the kind of person who trusts themselves. Who walks with quiet confidence. Who knows that rest is not a weakness but a form of self-respect. Daily rehearsal of your becoming. Waking up with new beliefs is not a one-time event. It is a rehearsal, a daily, nightly devotion. You practice the new script, even when the old one tries to interrupt. You say, "No thank you, I've heard that voice before. Tonight, I choose a kinder narrator. I am the author now. And I only write in love." Every night becomes a rehearsal for who you are becoming. And every morning becomes proof that it's working. A morning blessing, rooted in night. When you rise tomorrow, try whispering this before your feet touch the floor. Thank you for this new beginning. I carry the peace of last night into today. I am no longer a prisoner of old stories. I am someone new, born from softness. Let that be the echo of your bedtime truth. Let that be the tone of your morning. Because you didn't just sleep, you healed. A final whisper before sleep. Tonight, you fall asleep not as someone who failed, not as someone who needs to earn peace. You fall asleep as someone already whole, already worthy, already allowed to begin again. Close your eyes. Place your hand over your heart. And say softly, "I no longer carry yesterday. I am being reshaped in love. I wake up tomorrow with new eyes and a truer voice." Let that be the final sentence. Let that be the new belief. Let it carry you home. Chapter 10, A Lifetime Companion of Kindness. When the inner critic grows quiet, a new voice rises not just for tonight, but for life. This is your true voice. Let it walk with you. There's a moment in every healing journey when the work shifts from effort to embodiment. When kindness is no longer a technique but a way of being. When peace is not something you chase, it's something you return to. And when the voice that used to criticize is finally outshined by the one that comforts, supports, and lovingly leads. This chapter is about welcoming that voice as your lifetime companion. Not just for bedtime. Not just when you feel broken. But for mornings, setbacks, transitions, milestones, for all of life. This voice isn't new. It has always been there, soft and steady. What's different now is that you're ready to trust it. You're ready to let it stay. What the inner ally really is. The inner ally is not a perfect, positive thinking coach who never lets you feel sad or insecure. No, it's far more sacred than that. Your inner ally is the voice that stays when things fall apart. The one who speaks softly when the world gets loud. The gentle presence inside you that never gave up, even when you wanted to. It doesn't erase pain. It walks through it with you. It doesn't sugarcoat life. It helps you digest it with grace. It doesn't try to fix you. It reminds you, you were never broken. This is the voice we've been strengthening each night through rituals, truths, and forgiveness. And now, we give it a permanent place in your life, not as an emergency tool, but as your truest inner guide. The difference between an inner critic and an inner ally. Let's revisit the voices you've worked so hard to distinguish. Inner critic. Inner ally. Shames you for making mistakes. Reminds you that mistakes are part of growth. Pushes you to prove your worth. affirms your worth without conditions, demands perfection, celebrates effort and presence, echoes old wounds, speaks from healed awareness, reacts from fear, responds with love. The more you listen to your inner ally, the more you become aligned with who you really are, not who the world told you to be, not who you were when you were afraid. Letting kindness become your default. You don't have to wait until bedtime to be kind to yourself. You can carry the same softness into your mornings. Let's start slow today. Work, I showed up, and that matters. Relationships, I can speak my truth with love. Failures, this is hard, but I'm still worthy. Successes, I'm allowed to enjoy this without guilt. Kindness is not a reward for being perfect. It's the foundation for living with inner peace. The more you practice it, the less the critic will speak. Not because it's silenced by force, but because you're simply no longer listening. Keeping the practice alive long term. Like all relationships, your bond with your inner ally requires ongoing attention. Not pressure attention. Presence. Here are a few simple ways to maintain your connection. 1 weekly check-in. Set aside 10 minutes every weekend. Ask yourself, how have I spoken to myself this week? Did I hear more from the critic or the ally? What would my ally say about how I'm doing right now? Write down the answer. Let it be real. 2 monthly letter. Once a month, write yourself a letter from your inner ally. Let it speak honestly about your journey, your wins, your pain, your hopes. Reread the letter when you need reassurance. 3 daily affirmation anchor. Choose one anchor phrase to carry each day. Something like, kindness is my baseline. I trust myself to grow in grace. Peace is the ground I walk on. Write it on a sticky note, set it as a phone reminder, or repeat it as you brush your teeth. Let it become your new rhythm. When the critic returns. Even after all your progress, there will be days when the inner critic slips back in. That's okay. Healing is not linear. Growth is not perfection. Awareness is not immunity. When the critic returns, don't panic. Don't blame yourself. Don't think you've failed. Simply notice, the critic is here again. Then ask, what does my inner ally want to say in this moment? Let that question guide your next breath, your next action, your next thought. You don't need to eliminate the critic. You just need to stop choosing it as your guide. The legacy of self-kindness. What you've built is not just a bedtime routine, it's a legacy. You've taught yourself how to respond to pain without punishment. You've created a safe space inside your own soul. You've remembered how to love yourself through the mess, the magic, and the middle. This is the kind of inner safety that changes everything. It shapes how you show up in the world, how you speak to others, how you let others speak to you, how you heal, how you rest, how you rise, and perhaps, most powerfully, how you live. Final bedtime blessing. Let this be the final blessing of this journey, a whisper from your inner ally to the deepest part of your being. My dear one. You have done enough. You have become someone softer, someone stronger. You are no longer at war with yourself. You are not just healing. You are home. Let the night hold you. Let kindness lead you. Let peace rise with you in the morning. I will be with you always. Your true voice. Your new chapter begins here. You've reached the end of this book, but you've arrived at the beginning of a new relationship with yourself. A relationship built not on fear, but on friendship. Not on criticism, but on compassion. not on silence, but on speaking kindly within. This is your lifetime companion of kindness. Let it walk with you through every season, every change, every challenge. Because you are not alone. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are already becoming exactly as you were meant to. And now, you no longer need to fall asleep afraid of your own mind. You fall asleep at peace with it. Closing takeaway, living from the voice that heals. You are not here to diminish yourself. You are here to remember your light and let it guide your days, your nights, and your reason for being. This ebook was never just about falling asleep more peacefully. It was about waking up differently. Waking up with a quieter mind. Waking up with a stronger heart. Waking up with the awareness that your worth was never up for negotiation. Biggest takeaway for listeners and readers. You've now learned how to recognize the inner critic, observe it without judgment, replace it with healing truths, and create a nightly sanctuary of kindness. But beyond the tools and rituals, the real gift of this journey is this. You are allowed to speak to yourself with the same compassion you long to receive from the world. This is not indulgence. This is not weakness. This is self-engineered restoration, a return to who you were before the world taught you to self-doubt. When you anchor yourself in this nightly practice, you stop seeking validation from noise and begin tuning into truth. The truth that you are here on purpose, for a purpose, and that your presence already carries impact. How to leverage this ebook for self-enhancement. Reread one chapter each week. Use it like a reset button. Let each chapter recalibrate your thinking and reawaken your softness. Let it serve as your emotional compass. Build your own bedtime reset script. Take the affirmations, rituals, and visualizations and customize them into a 3 to 5 minute practice before sleep. This becomes your emotional hygiene routine, just like brushing your teeth, but for your soul. Use nighttime healing to power daytime focus. When your inner world is calm, your outer actions sharpen. You're no longer leaking energy to self-doubt or regret. You wake up centered, able to move with greater clarity, creativity, and courage. Replace morning punishment with morning purpose. No more waking up thinking, I'm already behind. Instead, I'm exactly where I need to be and I'm showing up with presence. Let your bedtime rituals fuel your sense of divine timing and reduce your obsession with perfection. Pair this nightly reset with daily gratitude journaling. Gratitude opens your eyes to how much you already carry. When combined with self-kindness, it becomes a powerhouse of self-appreciation. How to re-engineer your inner framework. This ebook doesn't ask you to become someone else. It invites you to upgrade the voice that narrates your story. Ask yourself each night, am I speaking to myself with truth or with fear? What would change if I led with gentleness instead of judgment? What is one thought I can retire tonight, so I rise lighter tomorrow? Let these nightly questions become the core framework of your self-renewal. Let this be your spiritual architecture. How to realign with life's true purpose. Your life's purpose was never to perform endlessly, to shrink quietly, or to punish yourself into improvement. You are here to express your soul's gifts, to lift others without depleting yourself, to live fully, lovingly, and authentically, to plant seeds of light in a world often tangled in shadow. And none of that requires perfection. It simply requires presence, clarity, and a deep relationship with your own spirit. This ebook is a bridge between your soul and your silence. A blueprint for remembering yourself each night, so you stop chasing outside what is already whole inside. Living alive while you are still living. Don't wait until life is at its end to recognize your contribution. Don't spend your sacred years silencing your worth. Let this bedtime practice be the ceremony that reminds you. I am alive now. I am enough now. I have value now. And my kind, conscious voice can change the rhythm of my entire life. There is no need to devalue your time here by replaying old shame. Start tonight. Let each breath you take before sleep become a vow to walk in your truth, speak with intention, and rest with reverence for your existence. All is well, with God blessed. If you believe in the divine, then believe this too. You were never created to criticize your way to joy. You were designed in light, for love, and by grace. Let God's whisper of "you are enough" be louder than the world's shout of "try harder." Let every night become a sacred return. Let every morning become a soft resurrection. Let your inner ally become your lifelong witness to all the beauty you've yet to create. And finally, as you close your eyes tonight, know this. You have silenced the critic not with force but with compassion. You have awakened the voice of love not just to sleep better but to live better. You have not escaped your mind. You have reconciled with it. And now, you are ready to rise. Fully. Freely. Faithfully. All is well. God blessed. Reaching RTSG with AI assistance via WhatsApp QR code. Recommended Reinventing Ourselves YouTube video QR code.